I'd like to see the baby.
Finally, we have gotten some real news regarding The Mandalorian Season 2. So I want to break down what was talked about from Favreau all the way down to Pedro Pascal, and it sounds like Season 2 is jumping right off from where things ended in Season 1. And from what I read, I could not be more excited. And stick around to the end because after reading this article, it has led me to one big conclusion about the end of Season 2. So here is what we know based on the article. First, more of the budget went into the visual effects for this season rather than all that money just going to getting things up and running. So that means we will be experiencing hopefully some of the best live action Star Wars TV we've ever seen. We only have one season to go off of, but now we can make a comparison. My guess is with the heavy portion of the budget now flowing through more of the post process, this show could reach a Game of Thrones level quality in regards to larger sets, bigger fights, etc. With that said, the volume already did look amazing with Season 1, but there were some moments and scenes where things did look a bit off. And hey, that's the nature of new technology and experimenting, so no worries. Next, this season will veer off into a few different story threads, which I imagine will come to a head in various ways, much like middle chapters in Star Wars movies. And with the rumors of Ahsoka Tano, Boba Fett, Captain Rex potentially coming into the fold, I think this all would make sense. As mentioned in the article, the show's gonna venture off Mando-centric tales. And knowing John and Dave, I think this will be okay as long as the overall story sticks to it being about the Mandalorian's progression and character. We also find out some more about Din and Baby Yoda, and that this season will test Din's parental instincts regarding the child. A quote from the article reads as follows: "We start very directly after the first season, and he's going into very dangerous territory. He's very much a passenger to the experience in unexpected ways, not knowing what's to come, not knowing how much or how best to protect the child. We don't know how far he will go to do that, and they're finding new ways to push the envelope." Now, of course, this also means that Din and the child and the rest of Team Baby Yoda will be contending with Moff Gideon, who's in heavy pursuit of the child. And Esposito had a lot of intriguing things to say about Season 2, with the biggest being the admission that he will be face to face with Baby Yoda at some point, which again, I'll touch on a bit at the end because that plays into my conclusion regarding Season 2. Moff Gideon was a great villain, and seeing him wield the DarkSaber was something I had no idea would even occur in Season 1. Not only does Moff Gideon possess that saber, but we will see him use it. And if I had to make a guess, Moff Gideon will be facing down a sorcerer, as they put it in Season 1, and I believe that individual to be the rumored Ahsoka Tano. My guess is that it'll be something analogous to Jango vs. Obi-Wan, where it's someone in Mandalorian armor, and this time an actual Mandalorian, versus a Force user, or if Gideon has no Force abilities, just a lightsaber fight against a Mandalorian, which I think would look spectacular. It's also said that in Season 2, Gideon will serve as a source of temptation, and of course that leads me right into thinking about the Force and the dark side. For all we know, the child serves a more nefarious purpose than any of us are aware of other than Gideon. Or perhaps Gideon is loyal to something familiar that happens to exist on Exegol. Either way, it's a curious bit of information. The official quote is, "Mando and the child are pursued by Gideon, who will serve as a source of temptation, in the classic tradition of Star Wars villains trying to lure heroes down darker paths. I'll be going toe-to-toe with the Mando," says Esposito. It's an iconic battle. I want to disarm him mentally as well. Who knows? Maybe there's an opportunity to get him to fight some battles for me. You may think I'm a villain, but I'm trying to harness some energy and some powers for a path that could be best for all. You'll get to see him be somewhat diplomatic and more of a manipulator. So beyond that, Gideon will also be flying around in a larger vessel, as they put it. If this means a Star Destroyer, which is exactly what I think it means, I cannot wait to see what that looks like in live TV and how John and Dave are going to attempt pulling it off. Hopefully motion control. Now, I could go on and on about every other tiny portion of this article and make theories, but it wraps up in a way that puts me at ease. It's been an intense past 5 years with all the ups and downs of the Star Wars movies, the fandoms, the quality of everything, the general discourse about everything. It's just pure ass. I hate going online and talking about it sometimes. But this show somehow pushed beyond that, which is refreshing, and it sounds like Season 2 is going to continue to do the same. Now, Gina Carano says, "I have no question fans are going to like this season even more. Everything's in there. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to see things you've always wanted to see. Or, as Filoni reliably puts it, you want The Empire Strikes Back to be better than A New Hope." I think that's an amazing quote. So this leads me into what I mentioned earlier, that big idea regarding how Season 2 will end. And I believe that based on what Pedro Pascal and Esposito said, that Baby Yoda will end up in Moff Gideon's hands, leaving us on the ultimate downer cliffhanger. I don't think Baby Yoda will be saved again, just like in episode 3 of Season 1. I don't think he's gonna die or anything, but I think we will be getting a cliffhanger ending by virtue of this being a middle chapter. So that way Season 3 starts off incredibly strong with a mission to save the child from the biggest foe of them all, potentially an entire fleet of Imperial remnant warlords, or perhaps infiltrating actual destroyers like in the movies, which would be really cool, in dealing with potentially some other Force sensitives also in pursuit of Baby Yoda. Either way, I'm just positing that I think Baby Yoda is going to be taken by Moff Gideon at the end of Season 2. So that does it for this recap over the interview from Entertainment Weekly regarding the Mandalorian Season 2 information. I highly suggest you go read it for yourself because there's a lot of talk and discussion in there, not only about Season 1, but just about how John and Dave approach Star Wars. It's great to just hear them talk about how they approach things simply. That's how you should do it, and just based off the last Star Wars film in theaters, The Rise of Skywalker, simple is probably better. AT-AT, signing off.